It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Thursday, March 28th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have sermons in the sky, QNA Thursday, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? It is a wonderful and awesome Thursday. Hope you guys enjoyed your Wednesday service last night. Don't forget, not just today, but every Thursday we have Q&A, so get those questions ready. Send it to me whenever you can. If you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. Let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is, Do Not Stumble on Account of Me. Do Not Be Disappointed. Oh, aren't you guys so happy that it's already Thursday? We're already moving towards the end of the week. I am so happy too, because one more day for me to record, then I have my weekend to just rest and relax and work on the other YouTube channel too. I am just super happy. I've been at church since early this morning because I was working with my wife. Yes, internet ministry. My wife. The weekend is almost here, but I had a great time this morning because I had a live stream, and I really enjoyed it. Right? I really enjoyed it. The live stream, I can't. It's 9 a.m. for me over here, so I was here since around 7 something. You know, it took me an hour to drive in the traffic, which was pretty crazy. But I was able to get here. I got here 40 minutes late. That's how crazy the traffic was. I left my house around 6:30, thinking that I would get to the church by 7 a.m. Remember, 7 a.m. means that I'll have 2 hours, right? 2 hours to prepare and be ready. But I ended up arriving at 7:40. It was that much traffic. I didn't think it was going to be that late because I was like, it's 6:30. Are people really going to work at that time? I thought it would get busy around 7:30-ish. Man, it was busy. It was really jammed. It's my first time driving at that time anyways, but it was it was a long traffic drive in the morning. But even though I got here at 7:40, it still gave me another an hour and 20 minutes just to prepare and get ready. And what was even better is I came in last night. Prepared all the equipment. I wrote on the whiteboard my key points and stuff like that too. So all the major work was done. All of it was done. So, very interesting. If you guys take a look at my episode 3, episode 3 just came out Tuesday night. That I felt even more comfortable. I was able to make jokes, be comfortable, go off script, and it's only episode 3, but it's definitely the most comfortable I've been doing it live. So I am super happy about that, and I guess it's really just about needing some time to settle in, and it slowly it calms my nerves. And, especially if it's long form podcasting, it's really not about doing it perfectly. It's about talking, enjoying the time together, being relatable, and just feeling like it's a natural, normal thing. So this week I was very happy too, because today's audience the highest was 47, which is the highest. Last week was 16. Last week was 31 was the highest. So being up at 47, it made me really happy that we're kind of growing and stuff. And it's only the second, it's episode 3, but it's the second podcast we did in using the US-Canada time, right? So I thought that it was a great improvement. The first one I did Asia time, it was over 50 people. Because it's in Asia, I match with Asian time. But of course, the audience, we want the English-speaking audience, which is over there in the US. And that's why it's 9 a.m. in Malaysia, 10 a.m. in Korea and stuff like that. But definitely growing, 16 more than last week as our peak. So very, very happy about this. And I was telling you kind of before that I liked it because I was able to go off script, comfortable enough to be off script, comfortable to make jokes on the fly, and not feel too nervous. Like, guys, if you watch episode 1, 2, and 3, you're going to see like a vast improvement in each of them getting more and more comfortable. Like, if you watch the first episode, I was very loud and like, come on, guys, let's do it. It almost like I was really trying to push it myself. And it was more of a pushing feeling, really, really loud. But second one became very calm. And the third one, now I was even more relaxed, like able to do the jokes and get the information I wanted out. Plus, ad lib, bring up stories I never thought that I would talk about and stuff like that too. So I felt a lot more like myself in this third episode. And, I was a little bit exhausted. I had my coffee in the morning, which made me really jittery. So I'm thinking about not having a coffee in the morning, rather get a tea or something along that line. But it's really interesting. For me, going through this right now, this is we're just starting the third week now for the YouTube channel. We've got over 100 new subscribers in the last 2 weeks. And we've gotten over 10,000 views, 11,000 views in the last 2 weeks also. And it is starting to grow a lot more. And I was looking at like Social Blade. It kind of it gives you an idea of what the projections of your channel are, and it says we will eventually reach 10,000 subscribers. And if we like, not using the last 2 weeks as an example, it uses like the last, I forget what it was. Was it the last 6 months? I think it was. Right? Let me double check at this. Yeah, I'm gonna double check. My friend sent me a Social Blade. Is this it? Oh no, sorry, not this one. But my friend sent me the Social Blade for the Rebel Pastor channel, and it's not about the last 2 weeks. It just talks about how I'm growing over the. Is it something like the last? If I continue to grow with the average of the last, was it 6 months? Then I should be able to hit 10,000 subscribers in about a year and a half. That's what it says. But it doesn't account, like I took an entire year off, right? So it doesn't take into account what's happening with like what I've restarted right now. So I would say that probably within a month or so, I'll get a better idea of what the projections of our channel are. But I think it's going to be way quicker than a year and a half, way quicker, because it's using the data from the last couple of months to project where I'm going to be later on. But I predict that we'll hit 10,000 by the end of this year. That's my prediction, right? That's my prediction. And I'm hoping even sooner than that too, but let's see what happens. So it's really, really up to all of us together for the Rebel Pastor channel. Remember, this channel here is only for members, so it's not about growth. It's more about, having a place where we can talk about providence and stuff like that too. But the Rebel Pastor is one that we want to spread the gospel, to spread the seeds of the gospel. So that is something that I do think we need to make it grow more and more. And the one thing Sunseem did say is, hey, there's 3 ways to help out, right? 3 ways to help out. Number 1 is watch. 2 ways to do it. Number 1 is to watch and share. Watch it, like it, just share it to your friends so that it can grow more and more. And that's something that Sunseem said, try to share it to 3 people every day. The second one, Sunseem says, is financially, right? Well, I would say 3, because the third one for sure is to pray for it. I definitely need the prayers for this channel too. So I think those are the 3 things that we can look at. Okay, so definitely 3 different things. Send it to 3 different people every day. Watch it and share it. I have shorts, clips, and everything coming out every single day. So, you can have a new video to send to someone. And the shorts are the most popular ones because they're only 60 seconds, right? So, yeah, I'm very, very thankful and grateful that Sunseem is really, really behind this. Like, he's really behind it. And I hope that all of us can work on it together, because it's the way it's going to work for all of us. Right? I told you before that how do cults get such great channels? Because like I told you before, Shincheonji is like 200,000 people. And this Shincheonji began later than Providence, and they have like 4 or 5 times more than what Providence has, right? So what I'm thinking is, like, what they do is they'll bring out a channel and you'll get all like 50,000 people out of the 200,000 are all going to subscribe and start watching it. And then YouTube pushes out that algorithm so more and more people see their videos. So this is the way that we have to do. We have to work on it together so that it starts well. So later on, there's going to be so many more people that are watching it because they want to watch it, and we don't have to do anything at that point at all. Right? It's just that big push in the beginning, and I hope that all of us can do it together. Watch it, like it, and just share it, right? Share it with 3 people each and every day. Like, I would say this to you guys is, what are your thoughts on internet ministry so far, right? And I would say that many of you have not received the education yet on internet ministry, what Sunseem's talking about, but I know it's super powerful to know how much Sunseem really wants this to work. Right? And that's why when I look at Korea, my friends in Korea, everyone is talking about internet ministry. Like, that is the number one topic. Every church is making a internet ministry, whether they're making a social media account for like Instagram or TikTok. Some of them are doing YouTube and stuff like that too. But that is something that people really, it's so big in Korea right now. Their goal for right now is to get 30,000 followers. Right, 30,000 followers. So I would say sometimes the hardest part is if you don't get all the education, the information, it's hard to kind of catch that vision. Right? It's hard to catch on. Without the vision, you can't really you can't really push yourself or be motivated that much also, right? Like, let me give an example. I am working with Malaysia Volleyball right now. And with Malaysia Volleyball, remember I told you they got like a letter from Sunseem with 10 proverbs. And, when the pastors from Korea came, everyone got really excited. They start to reorganize. But then the true test comes in. The real test comes is what happens when they leave, right? And this is where leadership really comes in. It has to step in. And they have to come up with a vision that everyone is inspired by, right? Because if things just continue the same way after the pastors leave and after Sunseem gave this letter to them, then nothing's going to change. And I would always start off with like, okay, what's the vision for Malaysia Volleyball? And I would ask you the question is, what do you think would make Sunseem really happy? And now I know that a lot of people are very singular-minded and they're going to say, evangelism! And the answer is yes, yeah, that's going to make Sunseem really happy. However, it's not just evangelism. There are many things that make Sunseem happy, right? Yes, evangelism is going to make Sunseem happy. Also, there's other things. For instance, we could take the external witness route, right? Like the volleyball team could take the external witness route. Like, for instance, they become super famous for their training, right? They're training and raising many national players in volleyball. That would make Sunseem really happy too, that they've made a name for themselves, and that's going to be it's going to have a good look on Providence too. Or what if they get famous for, let's say, working with youth? Right? They build these leagues and they keep the youth out of trouble and they make these amazing leagues and like even politicians are working together with them. That would make Sunseem happy too. Or what if we're famous for like international tournaments? Like that would be something we look at and say, oh, that would be great too. Or, of course, we could take the internal route also, meaning it's going to be mainly for evangelism every single year, right? So what we need to do is we got to find something that, some vision that everyone wants to hang on to. And it inspires people to do even better. Like, wow, we're really doing it, right? If there is some vision, there is direction, and everyone is working towards that same goal. However, if we don't have that direction, that vision that inspires people, then people just go the way that they normally go. Which means if there's no direction, they just go the direction that they think. And then you'll have like 10 people moving in 10 different ways, right? Without a vision, we move in the direction that we naturally go. But a vision allows everyone to move towards the same goals, right? And if you have that vision, everyone's going to be inspired. Everyone's going to have those meetings, and all the decisions we make is moving towards that vision, that same goal, right? So, internet ministry, man, it is so hot right now in Korea. And I think this is fair to say that because we're not in Korea, we don't get the information as readily or as quickly as Korea. Usually the Western world is usually few steps behind Korea. Personally, I would say that Korea is behind us. Why? Because we've been doing this for 4 years, right? Like the Western world is usually a few steps behind Korea. And then we, or actually not just the Western world, like everyone is a few steps behind Korea. But everyone knows the direction. They have the vision. And that's why internet ministry is super hot. And of course, what's going to eventually happen with internet ministry? Eventually, things are going to cool down. A lot of the channels will stop running, and only the ones that are super serious about it will continue. And I think that's why I told you yesterday that only 1.75% of YouTube channels actually hit 10,000 subscribers. Only 1.75%. Right? Most people can't make it through the difficult times in the beginning. Why? Tons of investment, tons of time, tons of effort, but there's no money. Like you can't sustain yourself, right? And that's kind of the same thing that's what we're going through right now, even with MSD and also with the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. It's like we don't really have much to go off of. And one of the reasons why it's so great to be in Malaysia is because it's a lot cheaper here. So, whatever I earn, it's got like 3 to 4 times the earning power of what it would have in another country like America or Canada, right? So, but one thing you guys can count on for me is I've been doing this for 4 years, so I'm here for the long haul. Like I'm seriously here for the long haul. I am married to the internet ministry, and now that it's kind of getting really exciting, even for myself, being re-inspired once again, it's something that I am even more excited about too, right? I'm very, very excited about this too, right? So, Sunsi said that having 500 followers is like having a church of 500 people. So guess what? We have a church on MSD that has 1,300 people, which is probably the largest church in the Western world. And then also our Rebel Pastor is 5,100, which means that would make us the largest church in the world, right? In all of Providence, we have the largest church for the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. So that is something I'm looking at, and it's something that we do have to think about for the future, right? Something very exciting I think a lot of you guys will be excited about today Pastor David Baker, will be giving sermons in the sky. So look forward to that. I am super excited about this and his involvement in internet ministry. I always have great discussions with him. He's super insightful because, he's been in Providence longer. He's been in all shoes. He was a head leader, regional director. He's worked in the world. He was like a vice president of, I forget what it was, vice president of like Wells Fargo Bank. Plus he's a teacher. Plus he's a parent, a father of 3. So lots of wisdom to take out of it. And always I gain a lot from what our conversations always end up being. So I always look forward to this. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it also. Yeah, it's really exciting. I know I'm talking a lot about internet ministry lately, and I think it's because it's the initial beginning point, which is that initial push. And I hope that all of us can really watch these episodes, watch the shorts, and send them out to as many people as possible. Because once we do that, guys, it's going to be automatic. Once we have that following, a group of like, say, 10, it comes to 10,000 subscribers. From that point on, guys, we're not going to even have to push things out. It's just going to naturally move faster and faster. We're going to be gaining like hundreds of followers per month. Like right now, remember, we're getting anywhere from around, we've got 100 subscribers in 2 weeks. Which means that we're averaging around 200 subscribers a month, which is really, really good. I would say that would be the best our channel has ever done. So I hope it's something that all of us can really be proud of together. Like, yes, I'm the one who's the face out there. I'm the one who's like doing the recordings, but we are doing it together. And I think this is a thing that we work on so that we can make really, really great history happen. All right. So, even if all of Korea is doing internet ministry, I think that we can reach 30,000 before all of Korea reaches 30,000. Does that sound like very reasonable? And I would say yes. once it catches up, it starts to grow more and more, quicker and quicker, faster and faster too. All right, so let's make this, let's pray for it, let's watch it, let's share it, let's do everything that we can. Even for, I've already lost a hoodie. That light blue hoodie, the Nike one, both my hoodies are Nike. Both of them, one of them I lost already. I can't even find it. So I only have my navy blue hoodie left. But thank God I have some really good friends out there, and we're going to make a Rebel Pastor hoodie so that, I can just wear them at that time instead. So that would be kind of cool to see too. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited about this too. All right. So yeah, that is something that I hope that all of us can work on together. And it's going to be an awesome... Guys, we're going to have a great time. I really feel we are. Let's have a great time. Let's do things together. Let's really make history happen in such a way that we can make Sunseem really, really happy. Okay? So yeah, today there are a lot of things to talk about. Oh yeah, we have question and answer Thursday. We got a lot of good questions too. Some questions I've talked about in the past, but yeah, I'm going to go over them even more. Like someone's talking about the water to wine. Someone's asking about the Garden of Eden, about expectations on brothers and sisters. So we have about 4 different questions that we're going to go over, and I hope you're going to really, really enjoy them too. I love your questions, guys. And not just questions for here. I would love to hear your questions even when we go into the Rebel Pastor. Someone... his name is Ryusuke, and he asked a question about prayer, and I answered it on Livestream too, so I hope it's something that can help a lot of people out. All right? So before we get into Q&A Thursday, let's get into the first break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for when we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing real. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I hard to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize. I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock. I got atomic bombs, love the Lord your God and all your brothers once the demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's a real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for a downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say,
like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
All right. So, yeah, thank you so much. That was Burning Life, and that is Julius Miumo over there in Australia. Also, I heard some great news, guys. Guess what? The Sumney Boys are making a new album. Yeah, they're going to do a brand new album, so I am looking forward to. I'm really excited about it, to be honest. I can't wait to see what actually happens here. So, they said that I'm gonna really enjoy it. I can't wait to play it on the YouTube channel and stuff like that too, because some new boys, they've always got these fire tracks. So, I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, we can get some of these singles released on our YouTube channel also. And you know what? I also am going to start playing like independent artists, Christian artists, onto my YouTube, my podcast and stuff like that too. Put it on the channel. So I am going to post like Sumney Boys and stuff, and maybe like even Dr. Zinni. Anyone who's okay with me posting their music, Christian music, or like, music about faith on the channel, I am definitely down with doing those types of things also, right? Get more views for people to see music from other artists like inside Providence also. All right, so let's get into today's Q&A Thursday. We have 4 different questions today, and hope you guys are going to really enjoy this. The first question comes about the story of the fall, right? It says, in the Garden of Eden, God said to not eat from the middle of the eat from the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, right? But you can eat from any other tree, right? And of course, that question comes up is, does that mean that they're able to have sexual relations with other people, meaning other trees, but just not with each other? And the answer is no. Of course, like if that was true, that would be really, really weird, right? That's like, hey, if you're not blessed in Providence, you can, as long as you are having sexual relations with people outside of Providence, everything is okay. That is too weird, right? So what is that saying? So the one thing you have to understand is this is a parable, right? So in this parable, the only 2 trees that are symbolic are the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Everyone has all the other trees on the outside. Remember, we're talking about a parable, a story, right? The story basically, what does it mean saying that you can eat from any tree except for these 2? It's just showing that these 2 are that important. Everything else is like a regular tree. Do what you want with those regular trees, but you just need to know that these 2 trees are absolutely important, right? The ones that are in the middle of the garden. So it is not saying go ahead and have sexual relations with all the other trees, just not with Adam and Eve. It's actually just, it's a story, it's a parable, and that point there is just to prove to people that these 2 trees are that important. They are the center. It means that there are so many people in the world, but the only ones that are important to God right now to start history is Adam and Eve. So that is the meaning of that. So don't look too deep into that. And that would be really weird if it's like, you can you can have sexual relations with anyone except, right? Like you can except for this. So it's something that would be the explanation for that. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know also, okay? Second question is from the Pre-Dawn Wednesday Proverbs. This is from last week. It's about wine. How do you explain that churches use wine as part of their communion? Is that allowed, but alcohol isn't allowed being a bride of God, right? So there's a couple things that I would talk about here. In the former faith church, former faith church uses the wine, because it comes from the Bible, all right? So they say that, you can drink the wine, which means that it is allowed. And in the former faith, alcohol is allowed. It's not like you can't drink. You can drink alcohol in the former faith, right? Now, the question here is that allowed, but alcohol isn't allowed being a bride of God, right? So the one thing that you have to separate, and this is what Sunseem talked about in this week's message, is there is a different level at every time period. So let me give you something that is not allowed in the New Testament, but is allowed in the Old Testament, right? Let's just talk about some rules. In the Old Testament, it is strictly physical. So you can't commit adultery. But Jesus is like, if you even lust after someone, that is committing adultery. So he takes it to another level where you can't even think about it, or that in itself is sin. But the people in the Old Testament can say, wait a second, the Bible doesn't say that. Oh, by the way, you can't murder, but if you hate your brother, that is the same as murder. That is like another rule, another law. What did Jesus say? Right? In the New Testament time, Old Testament time, you cannot eat pork. You cannot eat pig because of the split hoof. However, in the New Testament time, you can eat pig, right? So it's like a new level, higher level of laws. Wherever in the Old Testament is, how dare you eat pig? We're not allowed to eat pig. But what is the New Testament saying, right? The New Testament is saying like, hey, you can't do that. Oh, now you can do that, right? So even when it comes to the level of brides, we have to look at it in a different way. Is like, I talked about this, I don't remember if I talked about this yesterday or the day before, is we have to look at it as we cannot compare ourselves with everything to the former faith. Generally, we can compare prayers. Generally, we can compare like praising, and like these are things that we have to do at every time period. But we can't compare everything. We can't say, hey, alcohol is allowed in the former faith, so it must be allowed in the new time period. No, just like in the old time period, oh, you can't eat pig, but in the new time period, you can eat pig. Right? So in the new time period, it's another level, new rules, higher level, right? And we're going to learn things that might be a little bit different than what we heard in the old time period. And that's why we do need to learn how to discern and split between the two things. Okay? So that's what I would say for that question. The third question is water to wine, a miracle Jesus performed or a parable, right? So did Jesus turn water to wine? And not literally. So the way Sunseem explained this is, in a Jewish wedding, right? So you'll have it's a Jewish wedding. You'll have a priest coming at the beginning and they will preach, right? They'll give a message. And there's also going to be the ending message at the end. There's going to be more preaching done at the very end, right? So turning water to wine basically means that in the beginning, there was like the preaching done by the regular Jewish priest, which was like water. It's at that level, right? And then what happened is, at the very end, the mother tells Jesus to preach, Jesus to do something about it. So Jesus preaches at the very end, and it was better, right? It was better than the beginning preaching, right? So what are they comparing it to? They're comparing it to wine, meaning, think about this, the host of the wedding, the bridegroom says, wow, usually everyone gives the best wine in the beginning. Then after they get drunk, they give the cheaper wine because they're drunk, they can't tell the difference, right? But what it's actually saying is, in the beginning, it's supposed to be more expensive wine, right? Because everyone has to drink it and they're not drunk yet, right? But it's like, oh, so in the same way, the word at the beginning was like, they were expecting the best wine or the best word to come out at the very beginning speech. So sorry. The thing that I said wrong is that I said it was like water. No, that's not true. What I'm saying is the beginning, the wine is supposed to be better in the beginning. But after hearing Jesus preach at the end, he says, wow, the better wine came at the end. What a gracious host kind of thing, right? So it's basically saying that usually people will do it like this, but then they did the better wine later on, right? So the water to wine miracle, right, is like, oh, we ran out of wine. That's what they're saying. We ran out of wine, right? That's basically what everyone's complaining about, is you don't have any wine left. However, what's really happening here is they don't have enough. They don't have the preacher at the end, right? So that's why the mother asked Jesus to do it. Maybe the preacher was too drunk at that time, and Jesus went and gave the final words, right? And it was better than the beginning words, when usually the beginning words is better than the ending. And the parable is used as in wine as what? Well, usually the good wine is given at the beginning, and then the cheap wine is given at the end. So the water to wine miracle is not a literal thing. It's more about preaching the words, right? So Sunseem did talk about this a while back. Did I say it in a way that you understood? I almost feel like I was stumbling with it, right? So, yeah. So remember, one of the things that Jesus said to his mother was, hey, it's not my time yet, right? And it's not my time, meaning it's not my time to do miracles. It's not my time to preach the word, right? Because that's when people will actually know who he is. Water to wine is actually the very, very first miracle in the Bible. And then Jesus goes 40 days into the desert, which means it wasn't his time to come out yet, right? And to come out means to preach the words that he's been taught. So this was done before the 40 days in the desert, going through the 3 temptations, which was his final test to defeat Satan. And then he comes out to give the word, to preach the word for the New Testament time. So it wasn't his time, meaning it wasn't his time to preach yet. So it's basically, that's what the actual miracle is. It is the greater wine, or the greater word came at the end, where you had the rabbi or the teacher of the law giving the first message, and then Jesus gave the second message in that wedding. All right, so that's kind of, that's where the water of the wine actually comes from. All right. Last but not least, we have a question, and it says, this is the question. It says, I had a discussion with a brother after Sunday service on expectations in providence. So in church, people take up missions, and we do acknowledge that greater capability comes with greater responsibilities, and then there comes our expectation towards people with missions, right? So this brother's stance is, the word says that we shall not have expectation towards providence, brothers and sisters. We can give comments, but we shall never judge. If we feel disappointed, like say if we feel disappointed because they couldn't meet our expectations, it basically means that we feel disappointed towards the one who gave them the mission, right? Which is the church leader, or ultimately Sunstream. So that's what the brother was saying. And this person said to me, I agree that we aren't the ones who judge, and that we are all learning and heading towards perfection, but it doesn't mean that it's an excuse for us to keep disappointing others due to our imperfections, incapabilities, personal background, or whatever. Above all, we might lower our expectation towards someone every time they disappoint us, but there should be some threshold. So, should there be no expectation towards Providence members or anyone? Okay, so this is a good question, and this is a yes and no. It's a yes and no answer. What does that mean? A yes and no answer. So should there, like the person's stance was, what does it mean not to have expectations toward brothers and sisters? I believe he's saying that we shouldn't be disappointed because they don't meet our expectation. And that's a big difference. Do people need to meet your expectation? And the answer is absolutely not. But that's true. They don't need to meet our expectation. However, I agree with the person who says their stance is there has to be some threshold, right? And the answer is absolutely. There should be some threshold, right? Like, for instance, someone may not meet my expectation, but there is a general expectation that must be met. Example. Tell me should you be disappointed if your head leader doesn't come to pre-dawn? You should be. That is a basic expectation of a head leader, right? Head leader should be at pre-dawn. Assistant leader, ALs, should be at pre-dawn. That is basic level. That is not your expectation. That is a basic level, right? That's why when you go to work, that's why whenever anyone takes a mission or a job, there are responsibilities that come with that mission. And there's going to be the basic ones, right? So we can't have there's 2 parts here. Not meeting my expectation is this, right? Imagine the head leader comes to pre-dawn every day, right? So they meet the expectation of what a head leader is supposed to do. However, my expectation is they have to come at 2 a.m. That's just my expectation. That's not the expectation of a head leader, right? They don't need to meet my expectation. They just need to meet the expectation of a head leader. That's a basic thing, right? That's true, right? So I do believe there should be some type of threshold that is there, that is basic, that is for every person with a mission. Hey, should head leaders be preaching on Sunday? Absolutely. If you have a head leader and they never preach on Sunday, you should be disappointed. If you have a head leader that doesn't come to Wednesday service, you should be disappointed, right? Like there are some things there that you should be disappointed by as a basic responsibility of a head leader. That's just basic, right? Your expectation is something that you shouldn't be having. Oh, they're coming to pre-dawn, but they don't come at 2. No, that's just your expectation. That's an expectation you have to throw out, right? You shouldn't have those expectations. Are we going to have imperfections? Absolutely, which means I think that if a head leader, say, once a month misses pre-dawn, I think that's acceptable. I really do. I'm like, yeah, there's going to be some tough times. They're going to miss it every once, like maybe once a month, once every 2 months, whatever it is. Yeah. I don't think there should be zero expectation towards Providence members or just people in general. Imagine you have a company. If you have a company and you have a worker, right? There is the basic expectation that you should come to work on time, right? Do you think it's bad to have expectation for one of your workers to come on time? That's a basic expectation everyone should have. Absolutely, right? And that's something we really need to think about. We shouldn't be disappointed because of those things if they didn't meet my expectations. So I would definitely say whatever missions there are, you shouldn't have your expectations. You should first ask, what are the expectations of this mission, right? Imagine you're a campus leader, but you don't run campus meetings ever. That's you. I'd be disappointed because that's an expectation of a campus leader. Campus leader is going to lecture. If I'm a lecturer and I don't lecture, that's a disappointment, right? So I just think we need to split between the basic expectations and our expectations, which are completely different, right? Like that's the best example is, hey, head leaders coming to every pre-dawn, but your expectation is they have to come at 2 a.m. They don't have to meet your expectation. They just have to meet the basic expectation of a head leader. And we shouldn't be disappointed by that, right? It's okay to be disappointed and talk to them about it because this is how we get better, right? It is. Because if they don't meet a basic expectation, they should say sorry and they should move forward too. Right? So that is something that I do think would be a beneficial thing that we can really, really do better and better each and every time. So that is something that that would be my answer to that. Yeah. They shouldn't meet your expectations, but there should be a basic expectation, a basic responsibility that all people with missions should have, right? And we shouldn't have the you must be 100% perfect attitude because everyone's going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to fall asleep every once in a while. And we have to be very forgiving, right? Because you see them working really hard and trying. Like, how do you know that they weren't, praying or they were out counseling and they were up really, really late doing this and that? No one knows, right? That's why I would, even if they didn't meet a certain expectation, like they missed one pre-dawn a month or something like that, I would still be very forgiving about that too, knowing that they have a good track record of they're really, really trying hard and they're doing their best. You know what I mean? So I would say yes and no. And even if they didn't meet the full 100% expectation, I still think that we should be giving them the benefit of the doubt and, supporting them, not criticizing or saying you did this wrong, but we should be giving them the benefit of the doubt. That's my feeling for this one here too. So I would say yes and no. Yes and no. Like, don't expect them to meet your expectations. They should be meeting their expectations for their mission. But also as people who are, in this history, loving each other, we should also be very giving people the benefit of the doubt and not getting mad at every small mistake, like nitpicking every single thing. I think that's not fair either to those people who are doing those missions too. Okay, so those are the 4 questions for today. I hope it's something that you guys really gained a lot from. I hope it's something that you guys will also be gaining more from in the future too. Keep sending me your questions. Would love to go over them too. Those are the 4 for this week. All right. So last but not least, we do have Pastor David Baker giving sermons in the sky. Looking forward to this. So he's going to do sermons in the sky. So before that, let's get into the last music break of the day.
asked if I had no regrets. I smile 'cause I only feel blessed to be with you. This love will never go away. I'll stay by you until the end, 'cause we're partners in crime, like we're Bonnie and Clyde. And there's nothing that will get in our way, 'cause you're my only one. My heart will stay the same. Only one. I promise I won't change. Only one. My heart will stay the same. Only one. I promise I won't change. I want this feeling for the rest of my life. When we're together, I feel so alive. No matter what troubles we face, we will never lose our faith in our love. You asked if I had no regrets. No regrets, no. I smile 'cause I only feel blessed to be with you. This love will never go away. I'll stay by you until the end, 'cause we're partners in crime, like we're Bonnie and Clyde. And there's nothing that will get in our way, 'cause you're my only one. My heart will stay the same. Only one. I promise I won't change. Only one. My heart will stay the same. Only one. I promise I won't change.
Okay, so let's get into today's final segment on this wonderful Thursday podcast. We have Pastor David Baker once again, just giving these great sermons. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one too, all the way over there in South Korea. Yes, he is a new member to the MSD family with his son, right, who's doing every Fridays. But everyone, please enjoy. This is Pastor David Baker over in Korea with Sermons in the Sky.
Hi, everyone. This is Pastor David. This week, the Sunday message stressed that the person sent by God does not do things on his own. It is God who takes action through him. In this way, Jesus came as Messiah 2,000 years ago and took righteous action according to God's will. But people couldn't come to grips with what Jesus did. Along those lines, when speaking about John the Baptist, Jesus said, "Blessed is the one who doesn't fall away on account of me." We know from the Gospels that John misunderstood Jesus, his younger cousin. John and his disciples couldn't understand. Why doesn't Jesus keep the Sabbath? Why doesn't he fast? Why does Jesus do things differently than other Jewish rabbis? John was unable to resolve these issues since he didn't become one of Jesus' disciples. And in the end, John asked, "Are you the one to come? Or should we expect someone else?" It was a sad ending that we should learn from and, most importantly, avoid repeating. God sends people to lead us at the right time in history when he has something to accomplish. God's messenger comes to fulfill his new plans. And as it says in Isaiah 43, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Since God is doing something new through the person he sent, of course it will be different at a higher level, and people won't understand or accept it easily at first. Jesus experienced this again and again. Many of his disciples said in John chapter 6, "This is hard teaching. Who can accept it?" And the Bible says that many of his disciples deserted Jesus and no longer followed him. These were not regular people turning away. These were disciples. And it was so bad that Jesus turned to the 12 and said, "Are you going to leave too?" But we know Peter responded, "Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life." As we follow God's new history and do the Lord's work, we should expect that many times we'll misunderstand how God is working. Therefore, it's prudent to always pray for an open mind about things that may seem strange or even foolish to us. And today I'll share 2 short stories which highlight this point. The first story happened in Jeju Island when I followed Sunsunum there. We went to a bonsai tree park and walked around seeing countless natural masterpieces. Tiny trees of many shapes, sizes. They were actually so beautiful, mysterious, and inspiring. While we walked around, the owner of the park got interested in our group. He noticed that we were well-mannered and respectful towards the park. Other young people, not so much. They'd smoke and throw burning cigarette butts into the pots holding the priceless trees. They'd litter drink containers, gum wrappers, just make a mess. So the owner was curious about us. Specifically, he wanted to know about our leader. The owner invited Sunsunum to lunch at the restaurant along with about 20 of our members. And that's how I ended up sitting directly across the table from Sunsunum, the bonsai park owner, and his wife. We had an amazing meal, and after eating, Sunsunum started teaching deeply about Jesus, God's new history, the 30 lessons. And as the testimony went on, Sunsunum did something I never expected. He took a paper napkin and twisted it into a long cone shape. And then Sunsunum proceeded to clean out his left ear while talking to the owner and his wife. I was so shocked. What's going on here? Isn't that incredibly rude? Is ear cleaning at the table okay in Korean culture? From what I've been taught, it's rude to even blow your nose at the table. So why was Sunsunum cleaning his ears if he wanted to make a good impression and evangelize these people? This went on for a while, with Sunsunum alternately cleaning the left and right ear every 5 to 10 minutes. I was so puzzled, and I had no clue how to interpret this. The result, however, of Sunsunum's preaching was great. The owner and his wife, who were non-Christian, both came to Sunsunum's lecture that evening at church and listened for hours as Sunsunum taught key points of the 30 lessons and other inspiring topics. Later on, when I talked to a pastor who knew Sunsunum well, I asked about the ear cleaning incident. Is that okay with Korean culture? The person laughed and said, "No, it's not usual, but you have to understand Sunsunum's shimjung, his deep heart, to know why he did that." The pastor explained that Sunsunum sleeps about 2 hours a night. So if he eats a big meal, he gets really tired and it's hard for him to function. That's why he often just eats a few bites of food and that's it. But since the bonsai park owner gave this lunch as a gift and sat right next to Sunsunum, he had no choice but to eat a lot. And therefore, Sunsunum's body was shutting down. His need to sleep was overpowering. So Sunsunum's method to stay awake and keep preaching the gospel was to tickle his eardrum. He wasn't cleaning his ears. And when you touch your eardrum even slightly, your body freaks out. It sends a jolt of adrenaline, which wakes you up. Sunsunum kept doing this every time he felt sleepy. Note, I'm not suggesting you try this. You might rupture an eardrum. It's dangerous. Please don't go there. But what I want to illustrate from the story is that Sunsunum uses methods we never consider just so he can preach the word. I was so moved when I found out that Sunsunum went to this extreme to save lives. And I was also thankful that I found someone who was able to resolve my misunderstanding. The second story I want to share is one that I didn't personally witness, but Sunsim shared it in a Sunday message years ago. It happened during an extremely cold winter day in Warmindong. People had gathered to see Sunsim, give glory to the Trinity, and play in the snow. At one point, a person came up to Sunsim and gave him a gift, an expensive pair of leather gloves. And in front of everybody, Sunsim accepted them graciously. And then a short time later, Sunsim turned to a young woman in the crowd and said, "Here you go," and gave her the gloves. And I want to ask, how would you feel if you'd given that gift to Sunsim? Would you think it was rude that Sunsim re-gifted the gloves? You can guess that many people were thinking, why did Sunsim do that in front of the gift giver? Couldn't he have waited until later? Well, after that, the whole group did winter activities, sledding, making snowmen, praising God, and they had so much fun with Sunsim, but the day was really cold, so they needed to warm up. And to do so, Sunsim stood next to an outdoor furnace. It was several large oil drums welded together, and they burned wood inside, so it radiated heat to everyone standing around. And as people were warming themselves near the outdoor furnace, the people further away wanted to see and hear Sunsim, so they kept pushing closer and closer. And a young woman near the front got pushed and shoved until she was forced against the furnace, which by that point was glowing red hot. She pushed both of her hands against the burning metal and cried, "Stop, help," until people finally backed away. And when everyone looked at her hands, they saw the gloves, the ones Sunsim had given her, were burned black and destroyed. Underneath, thanks to God, her hands were unharmed. And that's when Sunsim told everyone why he had given her the gloves. He said, "Do you think I'm a rude person who doesn't care about other people's feelings? Please don't misunderstand me. When someone gives me a gift, I don't think it's for me. Instead, I asked the Holy Spirit, what should I do with this? In this case, I got a clear answer to give it to that young woman, though I didn't know why at the time. Until the accident happened, I didn't know, same as all of you. God had a will to protect her from the accident and use the gloves to do it." It's exactly as Sunsim said in this week's Sunday message. In some cases, he doesn't know why he did something even after doing it. But God makes him realize at a later time, and if God reveals the secret, he shares it with us. In this way, Sunsim does only what the Trinity inspires him to do. So we need to be patient, to pray, and keep an open mind when he teaches or does something we don't understand. Today I shared 2 stories about misunderstanding Sunsim, but I could easily share a few dozen more. Living in Providence sometimes feels like the culture shock you experience when you visit a new country. It's uncomfortable, but you learn important lessons about doing things in new and better ways and remaining positive until you can make adjustments. This is an ongoing process for all of us who follow this history. As we strive to be like our teacher, we get challenged to raise to a new level. Naturally, that comes with new thoughts and new actions, so it's normal to struggle at first. Let's conclude with a prayer. God, we thank you for bringing us to your new history. You continually open our perspectives and teach us how to live closer to you through the Christ who models your thoughts and sets the standard for us. Please forgive us for sometimes misunderstanding the one you sent and being negative. We sincerely request that you give us wisdom and discernment through the Holy Spirit so we can understand you and fulfill your will in our lives. With love and thanksgiving, we pray in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed these stories and that they will equip you to better understand God who works in new ways and wants to teach us higher and better things. Until next time, God bless you, and take care.
And thank you so much, Pastor Baker, for another wonderful Sermons in the Sky. I hope you guys received a lot of grace, inspiration, and love, feeling the love of God from this too. Lots to take away from it. Please leave a comment below for Pastor Baker. He really, really appreciates your comments on his sermons too. All right? So there it is. That is, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's podcast. We only have one more podcast for this week and for all of March. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on The Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know